father-in-law told my husband to hide his money from me because he thinks all women are gold diggers. Joke's on him, I make more money than my husband. When I married John, I knew I was joining a family with some old-fashioned beliefs, particularly when it came to gender roles and money. Richard, John's father, is a self-made businessman who's always been very vocal about his views on women. He believes that women should stay home, raise kids, and spend their husband's money. Of course, I never fit that mold. I have a successful career, and I've always contributed equally to our finances. I pay my fair share of bills, help with the mortgage, and have my own savings. But Richard, being who he is, has always looked at me with suspicion. He's never outright said it, but I know he believes I'm just like every other gold digger out there. At first, I dismissed it. I mean, it's Richard's old school thinking, right? But I couldn't ignore the fact that he was subtly influencing John. And it wasn't until recently that I realized just how far Richard's influence had gone. I was cleaning out some old files when I came across bank statements that I had never seen before, extra accounts under John's name. At first, I thought it was just a mistake. Maybe some business account he hadn't mentioned. But when I dug a little deeper, it became clear. These were personal accounts that he hadn't told me about. And when I confronted him about it, he didn't even deny it. Instead, he admitted that his father had told him to keep money hidden from me. Richard had advised John to protect himself. This, coming from a man who knew full well that I've always held my own financially. It felt like a slap in the face. I was angry, not just at John, but at Richard. I couldn't believe that, after everything we'd been through as a couple, John would listen to his father's paranoid, outdated advice. I'm so disappointed. I don't know what to do. Update. So, I decided to do what any rational person would do in my position. I stopped contributing to the joint expenses and opened my own accounts. I set up my direct deposit to go straight into a separate account, one that John didn't know about. I stopped paying for groceries, utilities, or the mortgage. If he wanted to hide money from me, I could play that game too. It didn't take long for John to notice the shift. He came home one evening and immediately asked, "Have you been putting money into our joint account?" I looked at him. My tone calm, but the words were sharp. Nope. His eyes widened. Why not? I didn't waste time beating around the bush. I leaned in and said, "Well, I make more than you, remember? Maybe I should be the one hiding my money from you." There was a long silence as John processed what I had just said. His face turned red, then pale, as the reality of the situation hit him. Finally, he stammered, "That's not fair." I raised an eyebrow. "Fair? You're the one who's been hiding money from me, John. You're the one who's been listening to your father's ridiculous advice. How is that fair?" For the first time, John didn't have a defense. He just stared at me, looking like a deer caught in headlights. But it's not just about John anymore. I am not going to sit back and let someone else dictate my financial independence. I have earned everything I have, and I am damn well going to protect it. If they want to play games, I am ready to play too. Final update. After a few weeks, Richard found out what was going on. I'm not sure how, but he caught wind of the fact that I wasn't contributing to the household expenses. And he did what any controlling father would do, he called a family meeting. I knew this was coming. I'd prepared for it. When Richard started ranting about my behavior and how I was undermining John's authority, I simply didn't engage in the way he expected. Instead, I calmly explained everything. I told him about the hidden accounts I had found. I explained how John had kept money from me, following his father's advice. I even laid out how I had responded by taking control of my own finances and stepping back from joint expenses. Richard was stunned into silence. I don't think he had ever been confronted like that before. And John? He looked like he wanted to crawl into a hole. He was clearly embarrassed. I could see it in his eyes. He realized just how much he had messed up. But what really shocked me happened after the meeting. Later that evening, my mother-in-law, Julie, pulled me aside while we were in the kitchen. She looked around to make sure no one was listening, then quietly said, "I just want you to know that I'm proud of you." I stared at her, not sure how to respond. She continued, "I wish I had the courage to do what you just did. I've spent so many years just letting Richard control everything. But you stood up for yourself. And I admire that." In that moment, I didn't know what to say. Julie had always been the quiet, supportive wife who kept her opinions to herself. She had spent decades in Richard's shadow, never challenging him. And here she was, telling me that she was proud of what I'd done. As for John, he's been trying to make amends. He's apologizing, listening more, and, to his credit, he's finally started to understand the impact of his father's influence on our marriage. But Richard? Well, he's been quiet. I think he's finally realized that his outdated views have no place in my life. This experience has shown me how important it is to stand up for yourself, even when it's difficult. I'm not just protecting my financial independence, I'm protecting my self-respect. And if that means flipping the tables and teaching a lesson along the way, then so be it.